Alrighty. I think we're here. So we just posted our video last night. We're up to 666,000 views. That's pretty good for 24 hours for us. Um, I just wanted to talk about some of the graphics that we made for it. There was a good response from some people. I'm always like in the comments saying hi and trying to answer questions and stuff. But there was a lot of comments it felt like about this, so it's something that I can talk about because I made it. I'm proud of it, and I'm very comfortable showing some assets about it and kind of discussing the whole process, sort of. Uh, our first goal was to be able to show the show, but alter it in a way where the copyright rules are loosey goosey. We're educational channel. Everything we do is for education, but it's also for entertainment. So someone could get butt hurt and think that we aren't actually able to use this for fair use. While there's plenty of reaction videos and everybody does, we just want to cover our bases. And one of those is to degrade the image and alter it every pixel, and it's mostly fine. So that was the reason we decided to do this overlay. We had a lot of good conversations. I found these. These are like from a video game emulator type thing where you could do different screens and just different scenarios or whatever. And then this is my assets folder of a bunch of different stuff that was going to be in there. There's a lot of really boring work to this process, which is mainly getting the graphics, creating an alpha mat, trying to clean it up so it doesn't look like garbage, and then make a more cohesive thing. So, like you can see, I changed the alien or whatever. There's a lot of updates that go along the way, but um, I, for some reason, have switched from using Photoshop for doing thumbnails and stuff to just using After Effects because it's easier for me. It's so much easier when I want to use masking, compositing tools, matting effects, lighting effects, shadows that are more accurate, blah, blah, blah. Like, I just do it in here and I kind of don't really touch Photoshop other than for um, pulling mats and stuff. So yeah, this will be crazy. I probably should have changed my resolution or whatever, but streaming is causing this to lag a lot more. But I just have a lot of layers. They're all in one. We're just focusing on the first frame. It does have the kind of an example of what the video might look like. It's not it could add infinite amount of scan lines and all that stuff, but that was kind of on the editor's job, and my job was to just do the overlay graphics, or I tasked myself with that job. Um, I picked this TV because it had a nice little LED thing, and I knew that we could put out a message, or eventually, like we could even scroll messages or something like that. But just typed out a little Milo TV, broke the rules with making a little 8 segment font, and I thought it was kind of cute. I made these stickers. I made this alien like marker screen print thing. uh yeah, a lot of this is just like googling for images and then taking them into Photoshop, pulling a mat, exporting a png, and then saving it out. But I got to put a little bit of my flavor, my life, and then a couple of the other teammates made requests. Like Milo requested for the Mystery Science Theater to be somewhere in there, so we got the little model globe, and then we've got like I put this little sticker thing down here where they're kind of like they'll always be watching and pointing at it. Um, SJ requested the Gonzo. I think you saw the other folder where there was a another whole Gonzo toy. These are like old Burger King toys, but I just couldn't get it to incorporate it very well because this was like made to hang. So I found this one and was able to go and like, pull the mat, clean it up, and get a little reflection for the wood. And it's not perfect. It's not perfect. I think this is one thing that people might be surprised at, but we don't have that much time to work on each of these elements because we're doing other stuff. So we kind of like, we have to be thrifty with our time, frugal, and like weigh the pros and cons if it's worth dumping a bunch of energy into one little thing, like making this look more perfect, this gonzo down here. It might not be worth it. Like the lower right corner, I knew that Milo was going to be placed there, so it's kind of more barren, and that's where the little whatever Atlantis jokes are over here. Um, I don't really know exactly what to show, but I'll just show like one thing about the process, I guess. So yeah, a lot of layers. So I'm terrible, and I don't name my layers because I don't even really have time for that. Kind of just like chug through stuff pretty quickly. But if I turn this off, so some of this stuff is like we usually learn a lot the first time we do something that's new, and then we can refine the process for the next one. But this whole scene is like it's mostly 2 dimensional, but then there's also a little bit of the 2.5D After Effects, meaning that we can like rotate stuff. And this is chugging. I do not know why, so I'll drop my resolution. But yes, I just use After Effects because it's fast. I hate rendering. It's the worst thing in the world. I will put up with a laggy viewport up to a point. Uh, but I just can't do Photoshop. Photoshop in Windows when you have a lot of layers is terrible. Okay, so over here, let's look at the Gonzo toy. Okay, so I'm gonna just solo him, and you can see he's just like a little Gonzo with a slight reflection when it's all black. I'm gonna turn off all these layers, and we're just gonna talk about them one by one. Okay, so this is where you use your handy dandy Photoshop over here, and let's come over here, see if I can find this Gonzo toy. Blah blah blah. It's not fun. It's not fun. There's just an image of a Gonzo toy. Every project ends up with tons and tons of these little files, and some of them are not named properly, so they get really goofy. And sometimes I just overwrite the PNG or whatever. But I'll show you the process on another photo. So like for this one. Okay, Milo doesn't use AI. I use AI a little bit. Like I use the Photoshop stuff, like because I don't want to go and have to paint a mat or anything like where you're whatever you're drawing the whole mat for the whole thing. Like I don't want to do that anymore. I've spent too much of my life doing that. Too much of my life, too many hours. So the remove background, it does a pretty good job. It does a really good job in my opinion. And then I do clean it up manually, and then I export out a nice clean version. So we have this guy now, and it looks pretty good. Some of this overhang crap just won't matter, won't even see it. But that's what's going on with this. I already processed it and it got to here. But I am the pixel peeper, uber, I don't know what you call it, professional, not really. Who knows what I am. Okay, so one thing I'd like to do for projects is to explore new tools, and that's always super important for me because otherwise I'm just going to only be able to do what I did last time. But every new project, I try to pepper in 1 or 2 new tools. Sometimes that involves trying a new plugin. Sometimes it's a whole new program. Sometimes it's a whole new process. We never know. But after a while, you can start to scale these skills and do new things, and you are able to do a lot more than you originally would if you just stayed with default native tools. So one issue I always have is this disgusting white border. It's you can see it anyway. So this time I got this plugin called Extendo that all it does is do do do. It just takes the edge and blurs it out. And I don't really have a bunch of actions in Photoshop to do this, but this is something that I do all the time in After Effects, and the tools in here are easier, and that's another reason why I'm moving my design process to After Effects, which is insane. But like I said, Extendo, so it cleans up the edges. You can see the halo goes away, and then I'm using this ancient plugin called VC Reflect, which is Video Copilot Reflect. It's like from 2008 or something, and it still works on the computer. Like, I don't know, it's kind of crappy, but that's where I just let me duplicate this tool, reset this. All this plugin does, this is what it would look like if you just did it by default. And then you go and kind of, you play with it. You can see that the legs aren't even, so you got to play with the skew or whatever, the reflection angle, and then you blah 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 blah. You just play with the skew to get it straight again, and you know, you just start to blur stuff. And you just start to play with it a little bit, and you just don't worry so much. But it's a subtle detail. No one can see it. You cannot see it in the wood, really, but it's there. It's if it wasn't there, it looked like this, and then it kind of sticks out more. I don't know. Who knows if it's worth it? Who knows if this whole process is worth it? But it's worth it to me. It's worth it to me. Okay, so then that's what that looks like. And then as like a polishing thing, I just want to put a little bit of shadow onto him because he's close to the TV. Like there's some ambient occlusion or a shadow, whatever. So I use a gradient ramp, and that overwrites the image. But then I use the CC composite, and then that composites it back on top of the image. So it multiplies this gradient ramp on top of the original graphic, and then it goes through the other steps of those graphic treatments. But that's kind of how I do each of these. Some of them are more in depth, like this Gonzo one required a little bit more. Some of them, like the stack of VCR tapes, wasn't as hard. It was like more hard to find a decent picture on the internet that had what I wanted, but it's pretty much the exact same thing where I pull a matte for it, I do a shadow to incorporate it just a little bit. You can barely see it, but it does darken it up pretty good. And then I do the whatever. Sometimes I put the yeah, I've just been playing with the extendo plugin this video. I'm seeing what it can do. I like that it can take out the haze. So like this one, it has like a white edge still, and it just kind of eats it away and makes it all normal. So that's good. That's good. One thing that didn't work for me though, so I want to talk about some problems because a lot of people just, they only wax poetic about things that worked out or however they ended up doing what they did. And they don't really talk about how it's like, oh, I screwed this up or I wish I could have done this. So this is what I kind of run into with every project. And that was with these M&Ms. So I was sourcing crap from Google, which is fine. It's fine. It's just not the best way to do it. Preferably, it'd be good to like go to the store and buy some Reese's Pieces and put them on a counter and then photograph them. But then you start to deal with like, well, how do you get the reflection from it? How do you change the lighting on it? How do you alter the shadow or anything? So then it's like, oh yeah, well you can just put like a bevel on there, and then it's like, are you kidding me? Like, it just looks like shit. It looks like garbage. So we're not. I couldn't do that. I couldn't let that swing anymore. So that's where I went over into my 3D program, and it's just a very very simple or well, it is a simple program to be honest, but a simple scene. I put the picture in the background so I'd have the right dimensions, 16:9 aspect ratio, and about where I'd want this. I put like a little grid on there so I'd get the perspective somewhat right. We were gonna maybe have the beer glass. I decided against it because Milo was gonna be there and it'd be really distracting to have this fancy graphical text sticking out. But maybe the next video, who knows? We're playing with stuff. We're just trying to have fun and learn and teach you. Oh, sorry. That's not what I want. Here we go. So over here, I was it's the hardest model in the world. You just make a sphere and then you squash it down. It was a very simple model, but then I put it into a little particle system thing, and it renders out some rigid bodies for the candies. So then the candies are there. They're actually 3D. They're actually real. And then opening up the shaders, the material, doopy doo. The floor needs a reflection matte material, so you can pull the reflection, and I'll show you and talk about that. But it's easier to just kind of go through this. So the material for the Reese's Pieces. This is the whatever. This is the texture for it, but the texture is made up of this. If I click on this, you can see it's got the colors: yellow, brown, and orange. And then there's also just like it's a very very subtle noise pattern that I'm also using as a bump map on the whole thing to try to like have it not be 100% perfect. Because when we look inside of here at the original photo, there's still like some noise from like the candies rattling and bumping against each other. The drying process, it gets a little bit of a craculature or something. It's not total mirror finish, but I just tried to match it the best I could. And then from there, I rendered out some passes. And once you have a pass rendered out, that's just like, what is that? Some people will know what this is, other people might not. I'll talk about it. All right, opening up the frame buffer over here. Alrighty, so I'm gonna press play on here, and now it's rendering from the camera view of what I want. I'm gonna zoom in here, but now we can see that we have a light, we've got a reflection, we've got shadows, and the issue that I was having in After Effects, like I cannot take this candy, say that I wanted to make it shorter, like alter the perspective, you just really can't do it. Because then you start flattening the candies, and that's all that this can ever be is flat, only from one angle, and that's the angle that the original photograph was shot from. Plus or minus 10, 15 degrees, who knows? So yeah, that's why I did this, just so they could stick out, and then I could put things behind them even potentially. So inside of here, you got your alpha channel, which is lovely, and then you have your reflections. So I just saved out two little files, and I'm going to show you those in here. So we have our candy reflection. Here's our candy. You can see the little bit of noise on it, which is fine. And Gonzo's little leg is behind it, so it gives it a little bit more depth, not as boring. And then just a little bit of reflection on that. So if I open up the reflection, why is it looking like this? Probably because it's the alpha channel. Reflection, no alpha channel. Alpha channel is just transparency of an image. Doesn't matter. And here is the actual M&Ms. So a PNG, you can save an alpha channel with it. There's different ways to do this, but it was easier to save the reflection image and the candy image and then use both of those together. So there's the candy reflection, just incorporates it a little bit, and it looks, you tell me, is that effort worth it? To go and do another program, do a simple model, do a rigid body simulation, do a material, do a couple renders, and get it in here so it looks like real candy? I don't know. For me, it was worth it. It's kind of the same thing with everything else. I just wanted to have some of my favorite uh, alien stuff. I'm a big alien fan. I don't know about other people, but uh, you know, it's always fun to hear what Milo's opinions are on things. Um, let's see. So this UFO. Let's go find this UFO. This one I didn't outline, so I am freestyling, and you can tell when I freestyle because it gets a little bit crazy. Okay, so this is all sourced from that one random Google item that was like, it was a store shop front for a mini cow abduction kit from like whatever store it is, VAT13, I think. But you can see there's no alpha channel. So all this has to be painted out. And then one thing that gets hard is that you have a glass, and anytime a glass is there, it's got to be transparent. And I wanted it to show through to the poster behind it. Now it doesn't refract very much, but since it's at eye level, this is about what the refraction would be like. So it's not, it's not a problem, not really a problem to me. But you can see this is made up of 3 different layers. And I think this one I actually made a Photoshop file for, but that's not what I composited it with. It's got to all go through the one program. Um, let's just take this little puppy apart. So in order to make the glass look like glass, I just cut out the glass part and screened it on top. I don't know. I wanted it to look a little bit glowy and magical, but it's a lot of the same stuff over and over. This one's not very exciting, not very good explanation. I apologize. Uh I did like the idea of when the beer glass was there that Milo was using the map to Atlantis as a beer coaster and this toy or whatever. But these are all great books. Let's see, I think these are all great movies. I don't know about UFO Diaries, but the rest of them are good. Someone spotted Alien Romulus, which apparently did have a VHS release, which is weird. But Yeah, I put he extraterrestrial because I think Milo's an alien. And I got my X Files poster, District 9. That's one of my like number one favorite movies. E.T. is just like a good whatever. Oh, so one thing that I was trying to do at the end there was like get some balance going on, and that's why the alien changed, and I added this character over here because it was just the poster and it started looking too plain. So get some balance of the blue on the left and the right. Who knows if that's actually successful? It's more of an afterthought, and it kind of fell apart. But that was that was that one. That was that one. What else did I do? Yeah, I think I had to go and extract antennas because well, this is some of the crazy stuff that happens is the scene actually goes beyond the frame of the window, and then this scene was used in a version of the thumbnail that YouTube didn't like and that Milo didn't like. So we redid it. It's loading, it's rendering all the layers for here. This was like the original mock-up of this where the TV was there, it was kind of rotated, and that's where had I built this in a 2.5D After Effects scene, I could actually rotate and there would be some distance and I could put a side to the TV and it wouldn't be just like a crappy perfectly flat thing. But we had Giorgio there getting blasted by Howard the Alien, and I thought it was funny. Turns out that other people on YouTube thought it, whatever, wasn't as good, unfortunately. But that's okay. You gotta take the wins with the losses. I am just glad that people are watching as many people are watching as they are right now. um yeah, this is totally hanging, and it's mostly because I'm streaming right now. So if I end up actually doing more of these in the future, I need to actually get a second computer to probably stream from, because doing all this with one GPU is just killing it. So that was my version. This was Milo's version where he wanted to emphasize more trying to watch Ancient Aliens, and then it's a whole process to go. And I thought we were gonna say Ancient Aliens Origins, but I think that people didn't know what that was, and that changing it to just Ancient Aliens made people a little bit more apt to click on it, sort of. But yeah, this is way too busy, way too busy. Let's see. Yep, there's a whole process of cleaning up, like getting the alpha channel for this, so I could make the shadow for this. Like it's all a process, all a process. So got some feedback, and this is gonna probably be the new thumbnail, and it's much simpler, much fewer things. Just got to figure out how to have his coat not crushed to black, I think, is about all. But yeah, this was a brief look at what I did for Ancient Aliens Debunked, episode 1. There should be another one soon. If you have questions, put them down below. I will answer. I am an attentive little YouTuber, and I respond to people as much as possible. And I'm happy to show you more stuff. I think Milo's cool with it. Just got to keep certain things under wraps. And, you know, I like teaching and I like learning, and that's kind of what I'm trying to make this video and tell you. You can learn. I'm self-taught. This is all me pretty much, and my ridiculous tastes in the alien stuff, like the alien room and thumbnails. But there's other stuff I did also. I guess last thing, who knows? Oh yeah. So for the intro, we were gonna have the whole like actually do the in the beginning, and I was gonna remake the cards tumbling out in space and have different things on there, but it ended up just being Milo was like, no, I just put Howard the alien there. Howard the alien just dancing, and it'll be good. And he really liked the first version, the first like jokey version, so that's what we went with. This was kind of good. Let's see here. Don't be annoyed with me. Just be patient. All right. So from here, we have this is the TV show. Why is it so orange? Oh, because I have other adjustment layers. That's why. Okay, so on the TV show, okay, yeah, they always have like that weird little like Native American pan flute thing. So I wanted to remake that and have it like be cheesy, just like their little introductions are. And I was wanting to have like a dozen of these throughout the episode that had Milo said different stuff about Milo that were little funny jokes or something, or talked about how drunk he was, like Milo half drunk, or it was like 3 p.m. Milo half drunk, anything like that. Milo like maybe he's a sleep farter or something like that, or the dogs come on or the cats come on or Z comes on, and just introduce them and have more fun with it. And hopefully we'll get to do that. But this is one where it's easy because somebody else did the work. They did the design, and we're just kind of like, playing with it ourselves. So I wanted to do like my version of it, a better version, which was getting a similar font, and then what else did I do? Well, I did the sound effects, so that took a long time to try to source the right sound that wasn't too generic, but also would still fit. I don't even know if the sound ended up on there, but I it cracks me up. I just thought it would be hilarious to constantly be hearing this doo doo. It would say something stupid about Milo or whatever. We'll still play with it, but yeah, I like the glowy crap. I like particles. I like effects. I like building things. I like deconstructing people's work and rebuilding it like these people's work. It's not bad. You gotta admit, this show's kind of entertaining. It's kind of entertaining. It's fun to dog on, that's for sure. But if you ever like have an interest in like self-learning and stuff, I know After Effects costs money, but you could probably find a version of it where it doesn't cost that much money. Uh, get something that you see on TV and like remake it. Download a video file, bring it into After Effects, and you can go like frame by frame and build very similar to what they have. Um, I always try to take what someone made and then make it better. So I added these like little laser beams, and I try to crank it to 10 lately. So join me cranking it to 10 again in another video. Give me a like and a subscribe if you don't mind, or just say hi in the comments and I'll say hi back. Thanks, everybody.